because at first I was actually a reseller. That's how I kind of started. It was the quickest way for me to get all the shoes that I could possibly want. All right, so we'll just call this episode 2, podcast number 2 of Kickin It. I realized, man, I just need to do it. I just need to show up. So today's video is actually inspired by Kixology. She posted something on TikTok that was real simple. It was kind of just a description of like who she was, right? And I thought to myself, I have all these subscribers, people who support me, but at the end of the day, like, do you guys really know me? Do you know anything about me? So I kind of wanted this to be that, and essentially an open discussion so we can, crank these podcasts out. I really want to shoot for doing them at least every Sunday, every other Sunday. So we're going to crush that goal. So here it is, man. Just a simple, fun, 5, maybe even we'll go with 10 facts about me. First off, my name is Michael Mitchell. You guys all know me as ASneakerLife, or you know me as Mike the Compass. But yeah, man, the simple just Mike. That's kind of why I called the vlog channel just Mike, because that's kind of who I am. It's pretty cool to be known as like ASneakerLife or Mike the Compass now. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just Mike. I'm originally from Aurora, Colorado. I was raised by a single mother. I'm now 28 years old, which is crazy, man. I started this YouTube journey a long time ago, and we'll kind of get into that. But yeah, man, initially from Aurora, Colorado, like I said, single mother, grew up just playing basketball. She really kept me out of trouble and just focused on, honestly, the bigger picture of things. From Aurora, got in a lot of trouble. We ended up moving up north to this small little town called Milliken. And essentially I spent, middle school and high school growing up out in this kind of like country. Nobody knows where Milliken area is. And honestly, I'm so grateful, man. As much as I love Denver and the city, I just feel like at the time in my life, it was a lot of trouble. I was literally, as a kid, man, going to 7-Eleven, like stealing, fighting, just being bad, bro. I was like honestly, the instigator, or the person who would tell other kids to do bad things just so I could like sit back. I was kind of like the mastermind behind it all. And it's crazy to even think I was a bad kid, like terrible. But yeah, man, my mom just was always on me. Like at the end of the day, she's always like, you do your best. You know what I mean? Like, and I try. So from that point, I ended up going to college. I was, like I said, a basketball player. I played Division II, Johnson & Wales University. I was a shooting guard. I was nice. I, just like everyone else, had dreams of going to the NBA. It didn't happen for me, man. Honestly, I feel like a lot of things. I kind of fell out of love with basketball. Number one, just had a terrible coach. And, I hate to say that, but honestly, bro was trash. I honestly got worse throughout my college career, and my YouTube started taking off. And I would literally wake up every day at 4 a.m., drive to campus, I guess when I lived off campus, and literally Monday through Sunday, like we had practice every day and just grind. Ball was really life. And you can see like kind of my early videos of when I was in college, but I never actually like spoke about the story and what happened. It's just the season was falling apart. I was getting worse, like our training, just the whole entire situation was just terrible. As I look at it now, I kind of think to myself like, man, at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason, and I'm where I need to be. And I'm so grateful for the way the process went, but it sucked to dedicate my entire life to basketball and for it to pan out the way it did. But honestly, once videos started going viral on YouTube, man, I started like making some good money. I'm talking like 8 bands in 1 month. I was honestly like, why am I even in school? Like, why am I dealing with this coach and these people who are trying to drag me down when I'm making money, bro. I'm only like 19. So I ended up quitting. I really wanted to drop out of school because I just didn't find any point in it. But my mom was like, can you just finish? Like, that's all she kept telling me. So somehow magically I got it done. I always got good grades, man, but honestly, I did not care for school. Even in high school, man, I probably had the most missed days out of any student. Like, I knew this YouTube thing was for me, man. I've always known. So getting into like the YouTube aspect, why did I start YouTube? My first video on the platform was back in 2009. I've always been, for some reason, obsessed with creating content. And it just so happened that sneakers is what like helped me make this a full-time living. But genuinely, I started YouTube to entertain and to inspire people. It was always like this level of, I always wanted to be the big brother that I never had. And that's why my content, I feel, at least I try to make it so diverse and so kind of fun, but also very serious in terms of just life matters, right? Like responsibilities, things that they just don't teach you in school, and things that a lot of people don't want to learn the hard way. So it's like, if I can go through the hard way and kind of teach on my experience, granted, at the end of the day, you can hear something from someone else, but until you go through it, it just doesn't register. But I always do my best. So that's really the whole reason that I decided to start YouTube. Now, sneakers, what got me into sneakers specifically is just being a basketball player. Coming from that background, my mom always had me laced. Like, I have tons of baby pictures and like the Concords, Jordan 10s. Like, I was fitted, man, for sure. And we spent some good time in Chicago. We actually lived there very temporarily. But yeah, growing up, I always had the sneakers that I needed. I always had clothes. Like, my mom just had me official. A lot of you guys know with the single mothers, like, your mom just kept you right, But then when we got into high school, one of my homies, he actually was going to pick up the Jordan 4 Breads. And granted, this was at a time, I didn't have a job or nothing. I was just focused on basketball. My mom never required me to have a job. And my friend Sam was like, yeah, I'm going to the mall. I'm about to pick up these Jordan 4 Breads. And I'm like, oh, cool. How much are they? And he's like, they're $160. And at the time, I didn't care about sneakers. I wasn't about collecting. I had the shoes, but it wasn't like anything serious to me. And I was like, bro, $160. You're paying... No, that's stupid. There's no way I would ever do that. So ended up going with him, getting 2 pairs, and I sold 1 pair and it paid for my other. And I was like, wow, there's some good money in this. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was only like a junior in high school, and $160 at that time was a lot. I know you young kids now, it's a little different because y'all have everything. Y'all wearing like Chrome Hearts and Fendi and Balenciaga, Moncler. Y'all are different. Back then we was wearing like LRG from Macy's. I was going to Ross to get whatever Jordan hoodies they had, times are different. Like, when I was in high school and I heard the line Rolex, like, I didn't care about no Rolex, like none of that. All that was irrelevant. I was just trying to hoop. And throughout this time, one of the questions is, how many sneakers do I have? At this point, man, we're in the 300s and it's ridiculous, but that's a good, I started collecting when I was, honestly, let's say like 16, 17. I'm 28 now. It's crazy. So here's a little fun fact for you guys. Like, I've never actually had like a normal 9-to-5 job ever. I've always either hustled, sold gum. Man, I was selling gum in middle school, going to Sam's Club, getting bundles of candy. In high school, I was selling like those Power Balance wristbands, if any of you guys remember those. And anything it took. Like, my first MacBook I ever got, this is crazy at the time. This is when things were a little safer. So on Craigslist, I traded some other kid his MacBook for, it was like a paintball gun, pair of Beats. Like, his dad came over to our house and my mom was like super sketched out about it, but it all worked out. I don't think you could do something like that in today's weirdness that goes around. But yeah, I've just always kind of had that like hustler, just ambitious mentality. Not saying like having a 9-to-5, like that's smart too, because it's guaranteed income. But in high school, I had a few videos do pretty well. And I made like $300. And in high school, I was like, hey bro, I'm rich. I just made $300. Let's go to Macy's and let's run up them LRG jackets. Coincidentally, it actually turned into, I ended up getting this community all-star scholarship in high school. It was for like being just a good citizen. And Chauncey Billups actually presented it to the people who got it. And they actually gave me $1,000 check, which was crazy. It was supposed to go towards school. But what I actually did was I invested that in a bunch of Concord 11s. If I can find the images, I'll try to put them up on screen. But I bought a gang of Jordan 11s, a good amount for like for $1,000. And that's how I literally started ASneakerLife. Like, I got the trademark, I got the website, because at first I was actually a reseller. That's how I kind of started. It was the quickest way for me to get all the shoes that I could possibly want. It taught me a lot about business, and it was just a good way to support, me being a YouTuber. And what's crazy is literally, I want to say I was probably 18 years old, and my first year of like really going hard at it, I had 150,000 in sales. And that was back in like 2013. So this was, it really hasn't been that long, but the game has changed a lot since then. But that business was thriving, and it just got to a point where I was really able to be completely independent. I didn't have to ask my mom for anything, honestly, after like junior, senior year. I was glad to like get my own phone, like my own phone bill. Like, she had been paying for it prior, but get a car. I had good credit. Like, I was so hyper focused on all those things. It was just a good time, man. Now let's get into, where I've lived. We've lived in Chicago for a little bit. Obviously from Aurora, lived in Denver. I'm currently living in Denver. I lived in Los Angeles. That was amazing. Love it there. And yeah, that's pretty much all the places I've lived. Been able to travel a bunch of places just thanks to SneakerCon. I didn't need to start traveling for sneaker events again, man. It was so fun, like meeting all you guys and all the relationships that I established. I need to get back to that. So let's talk about my favorite sneaker memory. I have two that I have to share with you guys. The first one was luckily building an amazing audience. I had someone hit me up on Snapchat with the Shatter backboards, right? And they had worn their pair one time. They were like, hey man, like I love your channel, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to get rid of these shoes. I think they gave them to me for like $130, stupid steal. And Shatter backboards were going for easily like 800 plus. So that was an amazing sneaker memory. My other one was, again, Snapchat. Snapchat was like plugged back in the day, man. It's funny I have to say like back in the day. But I had one dude who was an attorney, and he had this weird case where this guy went to prison. I think it was like another lawyer who went to prison, had all his assets seized, and he had literally a semi truck full of just grails, bro. I'm talking Red Octobers, all types of Yeezy 2s, different Jordans. And at the time, I was living at home, and luckily I didn't have to pay rent, which that was amazing. I was independent. But my advice to you young kids, man, stay at home for as long as you can, because once you have bills, bro, it changes a lot. But anyway, dude hit me up on Snapchat, sent me a list of things he had. At the time, I had like $4,000. I think available, and I ended up getting like 3 pairs of platinum Yeezys, 2 pairs of solar Yeezys. I got the tan Yeezy ones, like the blinks. It was the craziest thing that honestly has ever happened to me. I was paying like $800 a pair, and you guys know platinums and all that, they were going for at least 3 bands at the time. So that was an amazing memory for me. Now for the last 2 questions, man. So one is the most I've ever spent on sneakers, and this goes back to, again, was making money, didn't have any bills, like real bills. I had like a car and a phone bill, but I spent like $4,000 on a pair of dead stock platinum Yeezys, which is wild because I would never do anything like that now, ever. Never. It just wouldn't happen. Like, you know what I could do with 4 bands, bro? A lot. I could use that money to make more money. It's one thing if you like buy it for 4 bands, but then you can sell it for like 10 bands. That makes sense. But I mean, realistically, there's a price cap. And then the final question is, where do I hope to see myself in 5 years? And honestly, I mean, I see myself starting a family. I kind of maybe will own a home. I don't really know, man. I'm kind of like on the fence of home ownership just because like prices are so expensive. I'd like to be completely debt free. That would be amazing. Pay off all these student loans, car, all that. I never want to be in debt again. And hopefully having like some equity in a few businesses that can pay me passively, and honestly to continue being a YouTuber. I've been doing this, like I said, since 2009. I think the first time I ever got paid was probably 2013. So it's been a solid 10 years that I've done this. And I think I'm going to do a follow-up video on like, how much so-and-so views pay you. YouTube is not easy by any means. It's a real grind. It's a lot of, honestly, mental discipline, because you got to realize that it's like being a musician. Not every song is going to hit. And it's hard adjusting to that when you've been at the top and then you fall flat on your face, and then you got to build your way all the way back up. And it's just a constant chase of evolvement, acceptance, and improvement. I don't even know if evolvement was the right word, like evolving, you know what I mean? That's where I hope to see myself in 5 years, and I'm sure each year it's going to change. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you got to know a little bit more about me. If you have any questions, you can make sure to drop them down below, and I'd love for you guys to maybe answer some of these questions down below in the comments for yourself, so I could just read through them, or tell me what topics you'd like to see in the next episodes. Thank you guys so much for watching, man. I'm extremely excited to get this going. I think this is going to give me that push I needed to just be consistent, because I think that's my only struggle in life is consistency. It's your boy Mike, man. Much love. Y'all take it easy. I'll catch y'all on the next one.